through onto my actual mic, like the Samsons that came with this mic, and it came as like a double pack. They're good headphones.
Oh, there's a URL. Okay.
They bleed like crazy, so I just wear my ear huggers.
That is the URL right there for the broadcast.
It's interesting. Okay.
It's like a straight out YouTube
link.
Yeah.
All right. So am I putting this on the Twitter then?
Yeah, put it on Twitter.
If I open this link and look at myself, will I enter Inception?
Yeah, you might actually.
You just hear that horn. That's all that'll play.
We're gonna be close tonight. It's gonna be good.
We're going to be close?
Yeah, we're like so we can both be in the shot.
Oh, I see.
Wait, everybody. Hi, everybody. All right, you guys ready to go?
Yes, I'm already rolling.
Yeah, all right, me too. Dan, you rolling?
Shit. No.
God damn it, man.
I was twittering the stupid link. Test. Yeah, I'm up.
Tweet. And you're rolling?
Maybe our fan will show up.
Yeah. We ready to go?
We all make a wish. Maybe we'll be lucky to be visited by the fan fairy.
It tells you in the top how many viewers there are. So we'll see. All right, let's count it in. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to the machine. This is Perpetual Geek Machine, show number 91 for Friday, May 3rd, 2013. I'm your co-host, Kevin Alexander. I'm joined today by Dan Zuccarelli, Ryan Houston, and right next to me is Rich Coonley. And together we combine to form the Perpetual Geek Machine. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah? Yeah. Good to hear.
Soggy.
Yeah, it's a little shitty here. We had a beautiful weekend weather-wise, and then it got all fucking rainy and bullshitty here.
Yeah, spring.
Yeah.
Mini milestone, this show.
This is the highest numerical show we've ever reached on one of our two podcasts.
It is a very specific way to have to reference that. That is true.
Here, I thought it was something important, like a prime number or something.
No.
91 is it a prime number?
Is it prime?
Yeah,
I think it's prime.
He looks at Rich.
Oh, I was just.
I'm the mathematician.
He's the one in the room.
Have the boy find the prime number.
Rich is
he's not like my go-to math
mathematician.
guy. I just he's the one right next to me. Yeah, we got a show tonight. We got a lot of games and a movie. What the hell's the night jar?
I don't know.
We'll get to it.
All right.
Night jar.
Well, we have something called the night jar on there too,
It's
but
a
we'll
weird
get to
sequel
that.
to Night Court.
We'll take a little break. Come back on the other side. It's the tip jar that was at the Night Court Cafe.
I'd watch it.
We'll take a little break after what you've been doing, and we'll come back with 5-Hit Combo. Tonight, it's Rich versus Dan revisiting an old topic of ours, the top 5 movies/games that you were looking forward to, but disappointed you greatly. And with the summer movie season coming up, figured we'd take a look at this one again. After that, we'll see if we have any time.
Epic Mickey 5 times.
Yes. After that, we'll see if we have a little time to throw some bullshit in there, and we'll do that. But if not, we'll say goodbye. And let's
Make
not
it sound
go
so
away.
appealing.
I know. Well, it's just what we've been doing. It's our post 5-Hit Combo bullshit session. It's the way we put it when we're talking about it.
That's the official title now. All right.
Yeah, it's just too long to call it that. We just start talking usually. So I guess I'm going to start here. So why don't you tell me what I've been doing?
Well done, third person. What?
Thank
Shut
you.
up.
It's a very awkward show.
Is that awkward?
We're early at this. We're new.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't watch myself on Google Plus. You get a thing that just says it's on air. I see. They closed the loop. There's no
It
exception.
knows. Oh well. But I've been playing Monaco, the recently released PC game, stealth / class-based 2D top-down thing. That's a ton of fun. I
didn't know that had multiplayer at all. I just thought
that's
it was like
the whole thing is kind of like if you don't play it co-op, you're kind of missing the point.
one of those Borderlands syndrome.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So you basically each person selects a class at the beginning of a mission, and you have I played the cleaner, so I could like sneak up on the guards and just knock them out for a certain length of time. I feel it was like maybe 15, 20 seconds, something like that. There was like the mole who could just dig through the walls and stuff like that. And then there was some other classes which I forget because I didn't take good notes tonight. So basically, each map you see, you can only see certain parts of it, just kind of like you're a normal sort of stealth game. So you have like a cone of vision, and like there's classes who can see further and illuminate more of the map. So the map looks like a blueprint before you light up a section, and then like the overlay is what's actually in there.
I like the look a lot. I remember seeing it at PAX, and it's very colorful, but yeah, based on very strict top-down blueprinty looking stuff.
Absolutely,
it's a really
yeah.
Cool look to it, like the gradients and stuff.
Yeah, it's a very cool look. It takes a little bit getting used to because things are moving pretty quick, and the way it changes here and there, like in a drastic change between looking like a blueprint and being the actual room, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It took me like 3 or 4 missions to really kind of figure out what the hell was going on. And so you have to make your way. You make your way through a building to get to certain things. You get to a bank vault, or you just get to a certain room, and there's guards all over the place. There are like trip lasers and things like that, and so you have locked doors that you can like just walk up to and kind of hold the direction that you walked up to it in. If you walk to it the right, you just hold right, and a little timer goes around, and that unlocks it. So the more people you have at that same objective, the quicker the timer goes down. Oh. And so you're trying to do this thing where you're trying to avoid the guards or take them out and figure out your best path and the quickest path because you're getting timed as well. And so if the guys can see you, they can kill you, and you can get revived by your teammates, and you have to be revived to finish the mission. Everybody has to be alive. Everybody has to make it out. And so you might go through like...
It looks like a wrinkle of Left 4 Dead almost, sort of.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And so you might have to make your way to the top floor of a building, but then you have to make your way all the way back down.
Mm.
And so you'll get you collect coins along the way. It kind of replenishes your ammo. If you have a gun, you can wear disguises and get past the guards, things like that. It's a game you could probably play over and over again because you can do that with co-op games anyway. But this is a good one because you can each try different classes, try different routes, and things like that. So it's definitely worth checking out. We should all get together and play that game. It's a whole damn lot of fun.
All right, I will pick that up.
How much is it?
It's like $15. Yeah, something like that. It's on Steam.
Cool. Sold American.
Yeah, it works really great with the controller. I did not play it with the keyboard and mouse. So there you go.
It seems like a controller game to me.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah. I think it's made for the controller. It's very smooth. It kind of becomes like when you have a gun. It controls like a dual stick shooter, so you're aiming with the right and moving with the left, things like that. Right. But you're using your abilities with the A button. It's real simple, but it's got a lot to it to check out and have fun with. So. That's it for Monaco. Dan, the hell's Nightjar?
Nightjar is an iOS game that I picked up last week. So it's a game without any graphics. It's all done through audio. So you put your headphones on. iPhone or iPad, really doesn't matter.
Okay, I've heard of this now.
The setup is you've been stranded on a crashing spaceship. But there's a lot of other horrible shit going on the spaceship as well. And you are using the stereo sound of the headphones to sort of navigate your way through the spaceship, looking for doors and control panels and walking away from some sort of creature or whatever is pacing after you. So basically the screen is made up of like 2 areas where like there's a left and a right area where you tap back and forth to walk or run, and if you get out of time with that, you actually fall over, which is a problem when you're getting chased. And then at the top of your touchscreen, you can like sort of swipe to like change the direction that you're pointing, and then continue to walk, and then see if the noises are getting softer or louder or what have you. You're guided through all this by somebody who's like coming to rescue the ship after your crew like leaves you there. And he is actually voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, nice.
So a bit of like star power in it. I noticed in the very beginning of the game, like the ship is crashing and the crew just leaves you behind, and you're just referred to as like the passenger. The voice acting was like incredible. It sounded like I was just watching a television show, just like I wasn't looking at the screen. Like the audio was phenomenal of these people, like just leaving me behind, and then even like the voice of Benedict when he's like talking to you. I can't remember his character name. And it's like, all right, there's a panel, there's an alarm going off, we need to find that panel and shut it off, and like sort of turning left and right, you can hear the beeping pan from like left to right, and when it's like centered on you, then you can start walking forward. If it gets louder, then you know you're heading in the right direction, or otherwise you got to like turn around. But it's really easy to lose your sense of space, so you kind of have to really like. I actually started playing it with my eyes closed to force myself to listen to the sounds more. So that's
actually a really good idea. Supposedly your hearing acuity goes up like by quite a bit if you are not processing your eyesight.
Any sort of visual, yeah. And if, I mean,
you
instinctively
close your eyes when you want to listen real close because it's you actually hear better.
So, and it's like it was cool to get used to the idea of like tapping back and forth to walk, which wasn't a big deal. And then later on, when you actually do have to do it a little bit quicker and not fall, it did a really good job and sort of like just drove home the storyline really well of doing this audio only thing. I've seen audio only games before. There has been a couple on iOS. One of the Bit Generations game for like Game Boy years ago did something like that. Sound Voyages, I think it was called. But this is the best one I've seen by far. I want to say it's $5, but it's definitely worth it. It's something totally different. So, yeah, there you go. And
I also really heard of an audio only game before. That's actually it seems like a no-brainer because I mean, video games are so visual, and you're cutting out like blind people from playing them, obviously. But this seems like it would lend itself to a different like market, you know?
Yeah, it's sort of like needles a different part of like, here, try an experience where you do this instead. Because I've seen games before where it's like Cannibalt when you boot that up tells you like, oh, put your headphones on. You're like, yeah, that's fine.
There's a lot of games that do that.
Yeah, I didn't really know what Nightjar was. It's just that the reviews are really good, and usually, like on iOS games, like I'll buy one or two a week. Like, you know, I look at the featured ones, see which one like the graphics look interesting, and I didn't really know what the gameplay was of this one, but it's just mostly black with like these blue, blocks on it essentially. So, and I thought it looked interesting enough to warrant me taking a look at it. And then when it said, put your headphones on, it was like, nah, really, you got to put your headphones on before the game's going to start.
No, seriously.
And you figure out like why it actually does apply, and it's really well done. I would very much recommend checking it out. I want to say the Nightjar is the name of the ship in the game. That's where they got the name from. So
yeah,
that's what the Nightjar is.
Technically, it's not the first one we've seen because I guess Johann Sebastian Jevs would count as an audio game too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess in theory, theoretically, sure. Like I said, there's been a couple like this. I can't remember the other iOS one. But it had an audio only element to it with very light graphics of just knowing like where to push when things were happening. But this is, and I played those. This is the best one of those I played by far. But yeah, it's an underutilized thing. It'd be neat to see more of this kind of thing.
Right.
More of this kind of thing.
It's great to force the headphones because we had this growing epidemic of people. It's like the next evolution of the big complaint about MP3s is that people didn't care about sound quality, and now we have a lot of people who just listen to music through the speaker on their phone, like the outward speaker.
That's crazy when I see that.
Oh, it drives me insane.
What is happening?
It's the boombox coming back again.
Yeah,
I don't even think that should work.
No,
if you hit play in your music player, it just shouldn't come out of the speaker.
It's good enough to show a couple people a YouTube video real quick, but to actually listen to music that way is insane to me.
Yeah.
But, Ryan, why don't you tell us about the StarCraft expansion?
Oh my! Well,
is it more StarCraft 2?
It is definitely more StarCraft 2, although of course it's all from the point of view of the gross bug aliens.
Zerg.
Did this just come out?
Well, it's been out a little while now.
Has it? Okay, because I saw a box. I saw a box a couple weeks ago, and I thought I haven't really been keeping up on it, but
yeah. Well, see, I'm a weirdo because I just like playing the single player campaigns of StarCraft. I never play it multiplayer really. Like I'll play little setup matches for myself against the AI, but I just like steamrolling the AI with almost no challenge at all.
Oh yeah, just put it on easy. It's a ton of fun. Just build up and build up and build up your resources, and just build your huge army and send it all at once.
Totally. Like I've created this whole narrative in my head. This was like a script I wanted to kind of write out at some point. Like, what if aliens showed up to like invade the Earth and we just kicked the shit out of them? to them, we were like. Like, they're like, you can't believe how agile they are. And they're all watching footage of us like juggling, and they're like, they can hear a pin drop across a room, and they can see it stereo. It's fucking crazy, man. Like we're just these really they're just these really short, obese guys who can't move very fast or something, Anyways,
yeah.
StarCraft. StarCraft is it's still really good, you know, and they've definitely tried to move the plot along with Kerrigan in particular, because she's obviously the center of this whole thing. But while the mission design is great, like those are all really fun and varied, and they do just like a really excellent job of like stepping you through how to like manage Zerg forces as opposed to Terran forces, which is very different in a lot of ways, like the way you produce units, how many you can produce, what they do. You have to just learn all this stuff again, you know? So they've stuck with that old formula where you essentially learn what a unit type is per mission, you know? And then they very, very gradually, like you don't really get to use the whole Zerg toolkit as it is until pretty much the end of the game. You know? It's not quite as long, I think, as the Terran campaign, but it's close. It's real close.
Terran campaign was what, like 30 missions or something like that?
It's a lot, 25, I think. Yeah, 25, it's long. Yeah. Like it took a while for me to get through it, but I really
got through like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, and I like watching the the cutscenes and stuff, even though it is getting definitely into the. I mean, Blizzard's got to come up with something other than the ancient master race that's going to close the cycle of fucking all-story world portals with the nightmare dark matter that causes, like it's just it's like endless nonsense at this point. But you don't even play; you just kind of go like, show me the guy who has flamethrowers. Oh, cool. But I mean, in this one, they're trying to mimic the same setup in between the missions as the space truckers had with the bar and all that. But you're like essentially in a race of asshole biotech freaks. Like it's what they are, They're just these hyper Darwinian dicks, really, and they're dicks to each other. They're like, "I'll kill you as soon as I can." They'll be like, "All right, I understand. That's just what we do." They're just kind of this weird, But like when Zerg are going crazy, screaming at everything, they're weirdly resigned to their fate. And so you have like an upgrade bug thing that you talk to when you research tactics, and you've got like a creepy worm woman coming out of the wall to give you advice, and that's kind of my major hang up with it is just they're just kind of gross to play. Like every time you start a building, it's still like, oh cool, that thing's assembling, you can see little rivets going, like all the Terran stuff. Like this thing, it's like, blah, here's a fetus.
It's like bubbling, like there's tentacles and shit.
It's like a razor scorpion thing swimming around in there, and then it explodes, and then
just like, even though it's a computer game, you can tell it smells really bad.
Yeah, like that, and like in some of the units, even though they're very powerful and kind of fun to use for that reason in the game, you're just like, I'm kind of against the fact that this unit even exists. Like spore crawlers are these things that are essentially monster closets that walk around. I'm like, what the shit is that?
It's Call of Duty in a unit.
So like you start a mission with this thing, they're like, use the spore crawlers to defeat 1 million people with these 3 things, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't even have these. So I mean, it's gonna sound like I'm kind of down on the game. I'm not. I really like had fun with it, but like whereas like I might be like leading forward playing the Terran one, this one I was kind of always like this.
You don't get too close to it.
Just clicking and kind of looking away, just kind of going, ugh, it's all squishy. It's all have to be squishy. So, but I had fun. All right, so it's good.
Cool. Rich.
Yes.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
Did you take your wife to see this?
I didn't. Are you kidding me?
I was just curious. I was gonna give her mad props if she did.
There's no good Dead. There's only Evil Dead.
We need to phrase it like it's supposed to be Evil Dead as written by Diablo Cody.
Yeah. How do you do that? What's the inflection on Evil Dead? I don't know.
What's the Junoism?
Yeah, how do you Juno Evil Dead?
You Juno your way through Evil Dead.
Anyway, tell us about Evil Dead.
It's legit. I mean, I don't know what Sam Raimi's intention was with the first one. Obviously, Evil Dead 2
to make a horror movie for as little money as possible.
Right, but I don't know if he actually intended it to be scary or if he wanted to kind of make a joke out of it, because that's kind of what it was.
I think
both.
First Evil Dead,
both.
It was kind of like he wanted it to be scary. But then Evil Dead 2 is when he really starts to dip towards the slapstick humor. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I never.
Well, Army of Darkness had some pretty.
Well, that's a straight up comedy.
Yeah, that was the third. That was the third one, though.
That was the third, but they all kind of match that. Like the thing about chopping off his arm and arguing, like all that stuff is like, come on.
Yeah.
This.
You're not like, that poor man.
What's he going to do now?
The pain.
That looks like it hurts. What's he going to do?
Somebody
get
to
a hospital.
He should really cauterize that.
You should just get to the hospital and maybe lie down.
I hated all of them except for Army of Darkness.
Oh, you're missing out.
That's fine.
Well, I'm not missing out because I saw them.
That's true. They're not for everybody. They're definitely.
He's just missing.
The problem was there wasn't enough tree rape.
I may be missing or out,
thing.
but I'm not missing out. I saw it. And, yeah.
This one, I mean, if Sam Raimi was trying to make a scary movie, I don't think he fully succeeded, mostly because it was mostly funny. I mean, there's creepy parts, I guess, of the tree rape scene and that kind of stuff. But it's so silly and off the wall.
Oh, I love plant porn, that kind of thing.
You should look at some stuff in Japan.
Ooh.
This the new one.
There's a 4chan
is,
forum. I'll talk to you later.
The new one, I was never actually like scared by it. I don't really get scared by movies or anything like that, but it is most definitely creepy. If they were trying to make it scary, I think they did a pretty good job at that.
It looked really scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't say like a lot of these horror movies that you see the previews for, that a lot of them look exactly the same. It's a haunted house. It's
the trailer definitely seemed a little
ring
unsettling,
over and over again. But Evil Dead looked fucking scary.
It's pretty scary. I don't scare very easily, but like there are some parts in that movie where I'm just like, I don't know if I want to watch this. Yeah. You know,
just going to kind of look at my popcorn.
Yeah, it was
that guy used colored contacts like the way J.J. Abrams uses lens flares. Seems to be the thing to rely on.
It is hands down one of the most violent movies I've ever seen, if not the most violent.
I see everything you're saying.
Seriously?
Zero interest in saying this.
It is insanely violent.
Like, are we talking like Death Proof violent or what?
Death Proof wasn't that violent.
How about
Planet Terror?
What was that? What was that?
How about any Miyachi film?
What was that Korean film we saw with the guy in prison who was like punching the shit out of
Rikyo.
Rikyo. Was it worse than Rikyo?
It's not quite that silly.
Somebody strangled with their own intestines.
Yeah, they definitely have their moments where like somebody like ridiculous things are happening, and it is kind of slapsticky. You know, it wouldn't be an Evil Dead movie without somebody cutting their arm off, and it happens a couple of times. So when those things happen, like it's just blood is just pouring out of everywhere, and like there's all sorts of just crazy shit happening almost at all times. Once the shit hits the fan, it really hits the fan, and the movie is just fucked up.
Saying the shit stays on the fan.
Yeah.
No desire to see this.
I definitely think it's worth a look if you're a fan of horror movies, because it's legit. I mean, they did a really good job of trying to create like a creepy atmosphere while staying kind of true to the original, but doing a lot of stuff that's like kind of fresh too. You know? Like they don't really like pull any punches.
Now I know Raimi and Bruce Campbell like handpicked the director from like a YouTube short that he did or something like that.
They did a good job.
Sounds right.
Like yeah, well I mean they saw whatever he did, just like with Neil Blomkamp with District 9.
That sounds like something the director of Spider-Man 3 would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and wasn't Neil Blomkamp like the head of like Weta Digital before or something?
Something like that,
but he wasn't some unknown.
No, yeah, but like he still like he made a short that essentially got expanded into District 9. What I was getting at is that like they saw his stuff and saw, all right, this is the guy who can remake Evil Dead, and so that's where they went from there.
I think if they continue with this franchise, if they make Evil Dead 2 is really just basically a remake of Evil Dead 1, right?
With more slapstick.
With more slapstick, yeah. If they just skip that and go right to Army of Darkness, I don't really see it working.
No.
Mostly because it's so funny, obviously. But I would love to see what this director could do with an Army of Darkness, though.
Edgar Wright should do Army of Darkness.
I think you could probably just recut that new World War Z Brad Pitt movie, and you'd end up
Army of Darkness.
At least half of Army of Darkness.
You just need to put like an S-Smart sign in the background, and then you're done. Totally done.
Just show some of those like waves of crashing liquid zombie footage, and then cross-cut with Bruce Campbell with a chainsaw going, ah!
There are a couple of subtle nods to the original. There's like the girl is like sitting on the car, like an old car.
Is the car in it? The Buick?
The Buick is in it.
Nice.
But it's not drivable. It's just this old abandoned car behind the cabin. The arm cutting thing, like things like that. They're all there. The one thing I could be wrong about this. Which one was it they were saying Dead by Dawn? When was that the tagline? Was that all of them or?
Evil Dead 2, I think.
Was it 2? Okay.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to say that, but unfortunately it never happened.
Yeah, that's the next one.
But yeah.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. If you like horror movies, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Cool. Let's wrap up what you've been doing with some Poker Night 2.
Yeah. Did any of you guys play Poker Night at the Inventory?
I played
game.
Yeah, I played a bit of it. If I remember correctly, I stopped playing it because I felt like it took way too long. like it just felt like it took forever. Like there was a lot of animations and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what the game is. It's sort of just like this really weird mashup of things. So
it's a Who Framed Roger Rabbit of video game poker games.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, essentially it's another poker game. Although there was a couple different kinds of poker this time. You could play Omaha and Hold'em or a couple other. But the first game had Tycho from Penny Arcade, Max. Or Sam, I'm sorry, Sam from Sam and Max. Who were the other two?
Had the Heavy from TF2.
Heavy from TF2, and then the last one I'm forgetting. Now I'm blanking on the name of whoever was in it. Well, regardless, it's a totally new roster this time around. So Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers, Claptrap from Borderlands,
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, he does. He does the voice of Brock. Max from Sam and Max, which is the dog, and then Ash from Evil Dead. is in it.
Rounding it out.
Circle.
Yeah, it's come full circle. It's really just a poker game at the end of the day. Gladys is the dealer this time around, which is actually really funny. Her and Claptrap have a lot of really good banter. So really, what this game comes down to for me is like the banter, like the stories that they tell back and forth while playing cards. The cards is almost like a byproduct. Like if I really wanted to play poker, like this is not the game I'd be playing, but for this really crazy mashup of things, it's kind of hilarious to hear them tell the stories back and forth. I think I played the first one for like 4 or 5 hours until the stories like started repeating. So there was actually a decent amount of stuff while, before I started getting around to the same, bits over and over. So I'm sure I'll do the same thing for this one, but I can't tell if it's Bruce Campbell's voice or not, because in the 2 tournaments I've played in so far, he was like the first one eliminated. Like, couldn't really zero in on his voice or not. But yeah, I think they do a really good job of like mashing up all these really weird worlds, and it's kind of crazy how Telltale's able to get all these characters together into the same game. And I don't know, it's just
the same voices and stuff as far as you can tell.
Yeah, the Claptrap is definitely Claptrap, and the Sam and Max voices are definitely there.
With Gladys being a dealer, you might have fucking sold me on this because it's only like $5, right?
Yeah, it's super cheap. It was the pre-sale was super cheap. I don't know what it is now, but
I think it's generally just $5.
Yeah, that when you pre-bought it, actually came with a copy of the first game, which like I said, I already had. But yeah, GLaDOS, every time she comes down to like raise the pots, usually has something pretty sneering to say, and it's all her. It's definitely all her voice. So and a couple cool nods of like the poker table is obviously built with like aperture technology because the cards kind of come just like shooting out of the table, on in front of you, things like that. So. Some unlocks, some like they gave you some more tasks and stuff to complete. It's like going to showdowns with 3 of a kind to be able to unlock like more stuff, and so they did insert some cool little nods to all 4 of the games. There's like Borderlands chips and like a Venture Brothers themed deck, things like that. I mean, it's nothing super deep, but the conversations that they've written for all these characters back and forth are pretty funny, and they actually go on like a decent amount of time. It's not just like a joke. There might be like a 5-minute interacting story amongst a couple of them, and depending on who's eliminated are the stories that are going to be told. So it's solid, and it's super cheap. So it's a fun poker game on top of that. But
you know what it sort of reminds me of a little bit? Do you guys remember Battle Chess?
Hell yeah,
I do.
So like that's what Battle Chess was, right? It was like a wrapper around a normal game.
Yeah.
And like the reason you play Battle Chess is not really to play chess, although you were doing that, but you also did it because when a rook took a queen, he turned into a stone golem and ate her.
Yeah.
like all the animations were the content. So this is actually kind
what
of like
chess was always missing was the violence.
Yeah, it was awesome, man, because like it was the first time I ever saw something. Everybody had the same reaction to Battle Chess when it came out. They're like, it's like that thing from Star Wars that they're playing on the Millennium Falcon. Like the little piece.
Not exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But that is the content. Like it's kind of an old tradition in a sense, So I don't see.
It's just neat because it's such a weird. If it was like nothing but Telltale characters, that's one thing. But it's like there's like a random Cartoon Network guy, and then like Gearbox characters, like Mad Moxie's like tending bar in the background, just kind of like hanging out. Like it's just a really weird, meeting place for all these like totally different game properties. So. Yeah, basically it's like Wreck-It Ralph. So, but yeah, it's a good time.
All right, cool. Well, that's going to take us to our break, so we're going to head into that, and we'll see you on the other side with some 5-hit combo. All right. For whoever might be watching, this is the part where we kind of like,
Don't you have a list of who's watching?
No, it gives the number of viewers.
what is
currently
it?
watching. There have been as high as
first digit. Okay, go ahead. Second digit.
Yeah.
So that's what's in the
12.
so that's what's in the hundreds place. What's in the tens place?
Well, this is what happens. Yeah, does anybody need to actually take a break? Right
No,
now?
I don't think so.
This is all bonus content. So you one watcher.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Ooh. That's what's
Um,
going out to you.
hold on a second.
You need to go medicate your dogs.
Nah, that's fine. Me just yelling. I hear Linda walking now. All right, cool. So we want to just get back into it?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Do it. Come on.
Okay, give me a break. God.
Damn it.
Welcome
Push the
back.
button.
Usually I'm all happy to get back from the break. Brian's yelling at me.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right, let's just head into 5-hit combo.
All right.
Ooh, I'm gonna read what 5-hit combo is.
All right, cool.
As submitted by Jonathan Mitchell, who goes by
Yes.
Jerkface Killer on,
Yeah, we started using that last week.
on Twitter. Okay, cool. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna read it again then.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's what we should do every time.
Jerkface
5-hit
Killer Redux.
Yeah. So 5-hit combo is a friendly competition in which two players read back their top 5 lists of a given topic in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 style, while a third player judges the lists based on his or her own personal tastes. Players may change every week, but the game is perpetual.
That's awesome.
It really is
Still
better
love
than
it.
anything.
You can put it. You need to put a little reverb on Dan's perpetual.
Perpetual.
pronunciation at the end there.
Whoa.
Maybe
ending
we'll
right
just record that and make it all sound effecty and fun. I'll just drop it in every week.
Yeah, there you go.
We could do that. Anyway, Ryan, you're judging this one. So why don't you take over from here? I'm just going to sit back and color commentate.
All right. I am 3D printing a coin. Which side am I printing up first?
What's our topic?
Oh, right. What is our topic? Our topic is top 5 movies or games that you were looking forward to but disappointed you greatly. With summer movie season about to start, it's a good one to revisit, close parentheses. How was that?
Well done.
That's very good.
You're reading the stage direction again.
It's fine because stop reading now.
Militants are
Look left.
confused.
Look left.
All right, Archer.
Where's my black turtleneck? I can't do this without my black turtleneck. Yeah.
I'll let Rich choose the what potentially is printed on that coin.
3D printing is really slow, so it's still going, and we didn't lose any time with that.
Is it heads, a maple leaf, or tails, a moose?
You just called the queen a moose.
I stand by it.
Sounds about right.
It is, in fact, heads, moose or queen, whichever you like. So,
The queen moose or the moose queen, those are two very different characters.
as a member of a Commonwealth nation, I'm not allowed to differentiate, sadly.
I'm gonna let Rich go first.
Okay.
About that.
All right. So, Rich, without further ado,
Yeah.
what do you got?
My number 5, up until this point in his career, M. Night Shyamalan had a solid track record with me. I loved Sixth Sense. I loved Unbreakable. And Signs, though not a perfect movie, was, it was entertaining. It was fun. I liked it for what it was. And then I saw The Village. That movie infuriated me.
A little piece of me died that day.
Yeah, I was excited because it was this new project, and it looked kind of scary, kind of different. I liked where this guy was going with his career. He seemed like he had a really good head on his shoulders, and he was telling interesting stories.
Well, that seemed to be his run, right? Because every time you put out a trailer, you'd be like, okay, well, maybe this one will be good. It looks really good. No! Okay, maybe this one would be good. That looks actually kind of good. No!
But that's the thing. The Village was the start of that. He hasn't done a good movie since Signs. And that's if you consider Signs to be a good movie. The Village was one of those movies I was looking forward to. And not only was it stupid, not only did it have one of the worst twist endings I think I've ever seen in a movie, I actually left the theater, legitimately pissed off.
The Village is one of those
knock
few
over
movies.
a magazine rack on the way out.
People in the theater when I saw it were jeered at the credits, and that doesn't really happen all that often.
You know what I think has happened with this guy? I think how they say even a stopped clock is right twice a day. I think he was right at the beginning of his career in that sense. and then just the rest of the time has passed. Sorry, Kevin, I cut you off there.
No, I was just gonna say I remember I've only ever left the movie theater actively angry one time. That's when I watched that French movie Cachet with Julia Binoche. I actually took the time to call Dan to tell him not to go, just in case he was thinking about it.
It's important that I warn my friends.
Yeah. It was like a little bit before Twitter.
They need to know. Everyone needs to know. I can respect that. All right, good answer.
All right, my number 5 was The Matrix Reloaded. This would be number 2. I believe it's number 2. Is it? I think Revolutions is the third one. Either way.
Yep.
After the awesomeness of The Matrix, which probably hit me at the perfect time, age-wise, to be really into The Matrix.
Agreed.
I could not have come screaming into seeing The Matrix Reloaded at midnight with any more enthusiasm. And I think it was roughly around like the cave dancing scene where
the rave.
Yeah, like in the first like 15 minutes that I kind of did that. Your dog doesn't know the sound you're making, like head tilt thing. And then it just went downhill from there, and then through I don't know, even know why.
Tomorrow we die, but tonight we party. Didn't
something like that.
That's
like
the actual
Romans of
dialogue
old,
too, isn't it?
I don't know. It's something like that. Yeah.
I went to go see Matrix Revolutions just to finish out.
Actually, if I was to really qualify it, it would be tomorrow we die, but tonight we are DTF. I'm gonna get wasted.
Why are you
that's
crying?
What they did. That's the weird thing. They were like just raving out.
So, and then the movie did go downhill after the rave thing, except for Monica Bellucci.
Well,
I'll qualify that. But
that Merovingian guy, like he didn't go anywhere with it.
None of it went anywhere. That's the thing. At the end of the day, none of it went anywhere.
I wanted the thing with werewolves and vampires to be true, and that was like some sort of old code. And they like introduced it, and then they just left it there, and then they never touched it. Yeah,
they started focusing way too much on like the philosophy, and the story. They got so bogged down in the story, which was like they had just enough of it in the other movie and just enough action to keep a good balance, and they just completely fucked it up with the second and third one.
Yeah,
I was never that enamored with the original Matrix anyway. I thought it was cool, but I was not worshiping at the altar of the Wachowski brothers at that time.
Yeah,
and,
I definitely was. Like the Animatrix was a really good like collection of like cartoons that I was like I like
that a lot actually.
Yeah, like that actually fleshed out the world in some really cool ways. So I was like totally hook, line, and sinker like bought in. So I really couldn't have come crashing back to reality any harder than well, there's 4 ways I could have come crashing back to reality harder as the rest of my list. But that's it. Matrix Reloaded.
All right. That is number 5. Number 4, Rich.
My number 4 is Prometheus.
Oh,
yeah. This is a movie.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott is the king of science fiction. He kind of set the tone for a lot of what happened after. I don't know. When did Alien come out? Was that 78?
79?
Yeah.
79.
Like movies like that and like Blade Runner set the tone for science fiction movies for decades, obviously. And when I heard that he was revisiting the genre and everything, I was super amped up. When I started seeing trailers for it, even more amped up because it looked like he was like touching on a lot of like really, really big ideas, and I was like, oh my god, he might actually pull this off. And he completely dropped the ball. It was the whole movie. Like, I guess the biggest thing I couldn't get over with the movie was the like stupidity of like the plot and the characters. Kevin's getting up because
Kevin's gone. Kevin's done.
The only person in America who actually liked the movie is getting up and leaving.
The other person is upstairs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
You both made your choices.
Ridley Scott, he asked a lot of big questions in that movie and answered none of them. Like, he didn't even like try to at some points. He just kind of like sidestepped it and just decided to give us more stupid characters and dumb plot devices. Like there's the worst offenders of the movie are those 2 idiot scientists who are like just running around like they're afraid of a corpse on the ground, and they just run off into God knows what, into darkness on some alien planet, which they have no idea what's around them, where they are. And that when there's like snake things popping up out of the water, they have zero
The guy plays
problem,
like kissy face with it.
Yeah, like they're touching it and they're like, "Oh, come closer," you know? And like stupid Charlize Theron is like running away from a big spinning wheel like on the ground and decides to run forward so that the wheel like runs over her instead of running to the side like a fucking sane person would.
Serpentine fashion.
Like the movie is just completely plagued with like stupid fucking shit like that, and it just aggravated the crap out of me.
I could fill an entire
I didn't like it as like a monster movie kind of thing.
No. You don't get to. No,
I can definitely say that.
No, you don't get to say anything nice.
Once I turned my brain off and just realized that he completely fucked this movie up, and it's just like
you're basically insulting me because I like this movie.
Well, I'm not insulting you.
Yes, you are. You just keep using the word stupid over and over again.
No, that's fine, Kevin. I like. Come on. All right.
He likes plenty of stupid movies.
Yeah, Dan. What's my favorite stupid movie?
Shoot 'em up.
There you go. So people are allowed to like movies that are dumb. Just because I consider it dumb doesn't mean that it necessarily.
It could still be dumb, and you could still like it, but it doesn't separate the fact. Like, look, Prometheus is not Hobo with a Shotgun, right? It asked. Ridley Scott wanted more out of that movie than it to be what it turned into. I don't know. I had many problems with that movie too. I had the surgery scene was a huge fucking ridiculous piece of shit. Guy Pearce in old man makeup.
That was awful.
I'm just helping Rich's case on this one, but
yeah, but Kev, I'm not trying to insult you. I just didn't like the movie as much as you did. You
just like a terrible movie. We all have gaps in our logic. I've got mine.
Yeah. So that's my number 4.
Judge's ruling. That's a very strong case he's put forward there. Okay, so Dan, what do you got?
Right, this is actually the only video game that's on my list. Left 4 Dead 2. I loved the first one, and we played a hell of a lot of multiplayer on that game. Yeah, and right up until like the day Left 4 Dead 2 came out. Like I think we were playing Left 4 Dead 1 like the night before it came out.
So it came out pretty quick.
Yeah,
came out a year after the first one.
Yeah, we all bought it. We were all super excited. Like loaded it up at the exact same time to get right in on some multiplayer, and it was so unbalanced and unfairly like difficult to extract any fun out of the game whatsoever. And I think like it all started.
You talk of it as if it were a sap that you were withdrawing from a tree.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like because we were
I'm
also
tapping this thing, I'm hammering it in, but there's just nothing in there.
We were all so excited.
Fun.
Well, I think it's because we were all so excited for it, and we had played the first one so much, and I like over the first hour or two that we were playing, like I think it all kind of started dawning on us that we're not just like rusty, or we don't just have to get used to it. Like there's something fundamentally changed here that it's just not fun. Like they made it so difficult and random as to like take the fun out of it. Whereas, and I think like we started just saying like, am I the only one who's thinking, well, maybe let's try, let's start over again. And then like by the end of the night, we went back to Left 4 Dead 1. So it was a huge disappointment just because we were so excited for it, like as a group, to play it. That when it hit, I muscled through it like single player because I wanted to just finish the campaigns, but like it never got to be fun the way the first one was fun. So huge disappointment.
It's a much better pick than Prometheus.
I remember a lot of people saying, like, because Valve really did like get out there and defended why they were shipping Left 4 Dead 2 so soon after the first one.
And most people loved it. Most of the reviews were like glowing, but I'm convinced that a lot of those people like they sucked at it too or kept dying, but then didn't want to like say like it's really hard because like you're a reviewer and you're not really a journalist. You're just
Those were air quotes if the listener couldn't detect that.
You just have to like puppet back the opinion that everybody else has when you write a review on the internet. But I actually remember it was Chris Grant, who was a joystick at the time, like wrote a very good critical review about how the difficulty was ramped up in a way to take the fun out of it. Like even on easy, it just just got into a ridiculous.
You're saying the AI director turned into a dick.
Yeah, basically, because that did have that really good like system where it was supposed to like push you along and always kind of be pressing against you as like this, as like this outside force. And it did a really good job in Left 4 Dead 1, and just I think Left 4 Dead 2 just totally dropped the ball. So
I'm interested to revisit the PC version of Left 4 Dead 2, see if they've updated it to make it fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mods for that too.
They patched in fun. Sometimes they do that.
Yeah, that is fun. New in edition 1.5 fun.
It either has fun or it's just more hats.
45% more fun.
Sweet. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
This is we're up to number 3. Rich.
Jeez.
Yeah. My number 3. I'm looking at my list now, and I'm like, man, I had a really bad last year. Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, that's right.
This should come as no surprise, man. I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Kevin now has
But
actually
why? Rich, why would you hate such a movie?
I still maintain that some of this might be on the fact that you had just sat through the first 2 back to back.
And I defend myself on that completely. Like
Yeah.
I was super amped up to see it, and I was completely awake and alert. I wasn't burned out. I've sat through movie marathons before, and I'm perfectly fine with it. It's not like it's like some endurance run for me that like I just.
I think you're right. I think he may have watched too much Batman.
Oh, Kevin's holding Prometheus into the camera.
Yes.
What a terrible movie.
I think we can all agree that Dark Knight Rises is a better movie than Prometheus, though.
I don't know. I like Prometheus more than Dark Knight Rises. No kidding.
Wow.
Dark Knight Rises for me is some of the same reasons.
It saves me typing the answer.
There's a lot of stupidity going on in that movie, and a lot of it I kind of put on Christopher Nolan, and I think David S. Goyer wrote the movie, right?
He wrote all 3 of them.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stupidity that occurs in the movie, kind of like in Prometheus, that just kind of continued to like get further and further under my skin the further the movie went along. From hanging on a rope to fix your back and getting punched in it to correct a major back injury.
To like it was a major back injury.
It was. He broke.
Broke his back.
Vertebrae hanging out. That's what the guy in the pit thing said.
He had a slip disc, is what he had.
Yeah.
If you really want to be technical about it, that does get put back by being pushed back into place.
From things like that to like every police officer in Gotham City, for whatever reason, running underground at the same time so that they can all be trapped in there for months. And then
you didn't watch the Chilean mine disaster thing? Come on, it's totally realistic.
And then after that, they all come out and they're all decide
fresh.
to run directly at every other villain who's got like guns in the city, like it's like fucking Gangs of New York. Things like that.
You love Gangs in New York.
I do, but they were running at each other with hatchets and stuff.
Isn't Gangs in New York a documentary?
It is a documentary. It's factual. There was just too much of that, and like Christopher Nolan, like I think he kind of prides himself on telling like deep stories and like having like well-developed characters and like cool like plot twists and things like that. And I just feel like nothing ever really came together with this one. Not like any of his other movies. I just feel like he's better than the movie that was put out. I mean, yeah.
I understand that.
I remember watching the trailer and thinking, man, I wonder how Christopher Nolan is possibly going to make that football stadium blowing up thing look cool. And then after the movie, I thought, well, he didn't.
No, somebody else did. Bane rapping.
I'm Bane.
Yeah, there you go.
Bruce Wayne and the Batman are totally the same.
Who said that?
Drop a beat.
Strawberries are full of fiber.
So yeah, Dark Knight Rises, piece of shit.
Right.
Oh god.
Sorry, Kevin.
I'm
not saying
I'm the one that's fucking stuck with him too. Like that's.
I actually think Rich might be stuck with you, not the other way around.
Yeah, you're not locked in here with me. I'm locked in here with you.
That's where I was going with that. All right, Dan, what do you got for number 3?
Okay. After the disaster that was episode 2, I probably shouldn't have been looking forward to episode 3 at all. Yet I allowed myself to get excited about Star Wars episode 3. I figured, this is finally it. Like, we're finally going to see Darth Vader, and something will get made up for of suffering through the previous 2 movies. But as we all know now, no, it's not the case. Or should I say, no, is actually what we all said. So, while I put the onus totally on myself for getting excited for episode 3 after 1 and 2, I acknowledge that and accept it. And it was still a huge disappointment that I figured Vader would show up at least early on in that movie and we'd see him doing some kick-ass stuff, but it just never happened.
Vader showed up. It was when Palpatine put his hand on him and said, "Rise, Darth Vader." Okay, go kill a bunch of younglings.
Pick up your power armor on the way out.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Dan, you and I saw that with our buddy Nick on our way from our
E3.
hotel to the airport at E3 2005. And I distinctly, one of my favorite movie theater memories is the scene where Anakin runs into the room full of children and they'll look at him for for help, and then he just turns on his lightsaber. I fucking lost my shit laughing at that. And there was a whole row of kids right in front of me.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was where we saw it. It was coming out while we were in California, and E3 was going on, so we were already kind of nerding out anyway. And it just seemed like this really cool mix of things oh, maybe this is going to be the one that's going to be awesome.
There was that awesome Battlefront 2 banner in the expo hall.
Yeah. So yeah, episode
really
3
says it all, doesn't it? All right, Dark Knight Rises versus episode 3. That is a weird choice. All right, number 2, Rich.
This one might be a little bit of a surprise, but and again, this is something I don't entirely hate it because this is a video game. I like the gameplay of it, but Metal Gear Solid 2. To use the Star Wars kind of as an example, Star Wars episode 4 is basically a standalone movie, and then Luke, I Am Your Father was kind of the pivot point for the rest of the entire series. I don't know about the new ones or whatever, but 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are all kind of dependent on Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father, and there's a lot of things that kind of revolve around that. Had they not done that, episodes 1, 2, and 3 might have been better. Return of the Jedi may have been slightly better, but it is what it is. So that was kind of a key moment in that series. And Metal Gear 2 did some stuff which kind of did the same thing, from Snake's clone brother coming back to life in an attached arm on Revolver Ocelot to all the shit with the Patriots and the introduction of Raiden as a character. These are all most of these are plot problems for me.
Rye, we can't hear you. Very strange. Don't know what happened. So
Can't hear me at all?
There we go. There, gotcha.
Oh, okay, that was weird. I keep hearing a weird sort of background hissing thing, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But...
Yeah.
And all right, so what we were just talking about,
Metal Gear Solid
2. I had a point there, but I got completely fucking derailed. All right, well, okay, I heard your answer.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that they kind of put the entire series into a tailspin. Well, maybe not a tailspin is not the right way to do it, but it kind of forced it in
the wrong path as far as you were concerned.
Yeah, the first game stood alone as a lot of it had lengthy cutscenes. It had a convoluted plot, and it was a big soap opera. I like that. I like a lot of the characters. I continue to like all the characters, but it kind of forced the direction of the games down this weird some very, very strange path,
There was some supernatural stuff for the first time, right? Didn't Vamp show up in Metal Gear Solid 2?
That was there, but there was supernatural stuff in the first one, so that's not entirely out of
Oh, right, now I remember the arm. Yeah, so later on in Metal Gear 4, that's what I was about to say, is that they recanted that basically and said, no, he was never resurrected. Basically, Revolver went crazy.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm well, you just retconned your retcon. That doesn't make it better.
Kojima's been making shit anything? Yeah, he's just been making shit up as he's gone along the entire time. And, there's
two rocks make a third improved worse, as it turns out.
So, I enjoyed the series, but the second one kind of set the tone for the rest of them, and it never fully recovered, in my opinion. So, Metal Gear 2.
That. All right,
that
Dan,
is
what do you got?
Surprising answer to hear from you.
I still like the game. I just, didn't fully like the story in it, and it kind of ruined certain elements of the other ones for me.
Yeah. My number 2. So after the hell that was episode 1, I probably should have known better. But I got excited anyway. I honestly did. This was the Clone Wars one, man. This is where shit goes down. Yoda kicks ass. We finally see everything fall apart, and people start, all the Jedi get into it. that was going to be the one, man. Episode 2 was going to fix the nonsense of episode 1. We got rid of the kid playing Anakin.
Dare I guess that you're number 1 at this point?
We're not there yet.
I hope so.
Don't ruin my bit.
I see what he's doing.
All right, edit.
I remember distinctly saying to somebody right before we watched the movie, like, you know, if this tells the story it should tell, this could be the best Star Wars movie ever made.
Yeah,
it like had that kind of potential.
Because it was the war. Like, it was honestly it was the part where everything, you know, went to shit. And like I said, we got rid of the kid that played Anakin in the first one. It's like Anakin grown up now, so we can you know, toss away all that bullshit. And it was, I don't know, too much love story. And I think that one of the things that really sticks in my craw, and this is such like a nerd thing to get stuck on, but like Amidala or Padme, she finished her reign as queen and then was elected to the Senate. It just, like, you can't have two forms of government. You can't have a royal family at elections. It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh man, I mean, I hear you, but on the list of complaints, that is so far down.
I know, it's just always
section
for some
You gotta
reason.
pick your fights, man.
Let me just put it this way: Misa think Yusa bitter.
Yeah, it just, but it's just such a dumb thing. Like, it requires like a few word changes to not have this, like, and that's systemic of the entire, you know, the entire movie.
If I could harness the bile in this 5-hit combo, I could like toast some bread.
So that's my number 2, episode 2.
Episode 2, aptly named. All right, Rich.
My number 1. This one is no surprise.
Super disappointing.
Yeah, super disappointing. Mass Effect 3.
Ah, 'tis a good one.
Yeah,
well, not really, but it's a good choice.
It's a good choice. Yeah. I love the first one. I loved the second one. The third one I was super excited for because it was like, all right, this is, you know, kind of like with, you know, the Clone Wars stuff.
Wait. Before you go any further, what's our stance on Mass Effect 3 spoilers? Do we get to talk about it? Are we going to warn people?
I'm not going to go that deep into it. I'm just going to talk about it more in a
But I would.
I
don't think I'd worry about it too much.
I'd like to make a comment.
Oh, okay, I can do
Potential Mass Effect 3 spoilers coming.
They stole the ending of Star Trek 1 and stuck it on the end of Mass Effect 3. Like, ooh, a star child. No shit, huh? You're God, eh? How about that? Where have I seen this before? That's all I had to say.
A huge fan of the first 2 games, and I couldn't be more excited for a video game. I actually took the day off of work. I wanted to get like a good solid 6-7 hours into this thing, and I did. I really sunk my teeth into it that first day.
This is the guy who, like, hey Rich, we were going to visit some of your family, blah blah blah. I don't know, I got to work. to gauge the level of excitement.
So
I'm sure I can make the call yet. I'll let you know.
This game, it's not like this game was just so bad and it was just a poor way to end the series. It was so bad and pissed me off.
How bad was it?
It pissed me off so much that any goodwill, any love of the first 2 games was almost entirely wiped away.
Ooh,
but with the ending of this one, it was just like the fucking nail in the coffin for the series.
Yeah, I hate when things make.
I can actually agree with that too. Yeah, I can agree with that too. It doesn't happen often. Like, the first Matrix, still a really good movie, even though the next 2 sucked. But Mass Effect 3 is so bad that it does actually drag down enjoyment of the first 2 games.
I know, it's basically because you know what it's all building towards, and like all this stupid bullshit, and like the big thing is the lack of like how your choices actually have zero bearing on anything. You know, like you see minor effects of it along the way.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the third, like, it's kind of like with you in Star Wars. Like I let myself get excited for the next one when all the choices are going to come to fruition. Oh, now it's the next one we're going to wait, and then everything's going to come together.
My favorite part of Mass Effect 3 is how they poochied the Rockin' Dog Legion out of the game. That, I don't know if he died for you guys or for you, Richard. Like,
he did.
He like beams back up, and then like another robot went, "Oh yeah, he didn't make it. I'm in control now." Wait, what?
The end.
The end.
Yeah, if there's a Mass Effect 4, I do not want to see it.
Yeah,
I'm fucking done with that franchise. Fuck that shit.
Mass Effect 4, get it. All right. That'll be a headline somewhere. You watch. That'll be a Kotaku headline.
They're not that creative.
No.
All right,
Yeah, that's my number one.
I have my list.
Your list sucks.
Confabulated.
Do I not even get to read my number one?
No, because it's episode 1, right?
Yeah, it's episode 1.
No, you don't get to read that one.
I didn't write anything.
You have something really witty for it?
Yeah, give us what you got. Tell us.
I was just gonna say.
I was just even more disappointing than the last two things you just went into detail.
Look, I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, but as an adult, it's not hard to tell that like those first 3 movies, they're really not that good. And as an adult, I knew that, but I still let myself get excited. Here's the thing about episode 1 that I'll say this: I was so excited for it that it took me 4 times seeing it in theater to realize that I really hated it because I was convinced.
Oh, me too.
I was just missing, like, I saw it the 3rd time. I started to realize maybe it's really not that good. And by the 4th time, then I was like, yeah, no, this is really nothing. That's how excited I was for it. My excitement carried me through multiple viewings of it before the actual movie started to like settle in of how disappointing it actually was.
I saw it 3 times opening weekend, and I went and saw it one more time when they were testing digital projection in 2 theaters in the entire country, and we drove up to North Jersey to watch that movie again.
Wow.
And
I waited at Toys R Us for the toys to release at midnight. I did a midnight toy release for this.
I was working at the theater at the time. I did the midnight ticket release and then the midnight shows, and we had people camping out for like 2 days for both of them.
Never in my life have I done a toy store midnight opening. I did it for episode 1.
Those rewatchings were essentially like you running off the edge of the cliff, i.e., Wile E. Coyote.
That's exactly.
Like, you were suspended for a little while, and it just went, "Oh, this isn't gonna work forever." Shit.
Yeah, the 4th viewing, I like looked down. Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Ryan, I'll help you out. Dan wins.
Well, let me go
Rich
back
is
to
lucky
the list.
that Kevin is not the judge.
Oh,
on this.
trust me, I see his list. He jockeyed some stuff back and forth based on who was judging.
No, well, I mean,
Yeah, you did.
no, I didn't. I had choices and stuff. I just wasn't sure about 4 and 5. But
Nah, Rich would have shoved Prometheus right at you.
was most likely going to be in there. Dark Knight Rises was sure as hell going to be in there. But 2012 was a really disappointing year for me. And you know what? I honestly wish you were judging.
Yeah, you would.
I don't care if I get 0.
You would have gotten 0 no matter how I felt.
All right, so number 5, Rich had M. Night Shyamalan and his entire fucking stub
Village
on. By the way, I'd like you, Kevin, if I could, I'd like you to maybe for the musical break put in "You Do It to Yourself" by Radiohead, because that's that's what applies here to both of you two. Number 5, M. Night Shyamalan. Dan said Matrix Reloaded. Between these two, I had to go with M. Night Shyamalan just because he is so comprehensively disappointing and actually had managed to do these ebbs and flows as I managed with the trailers, where you just somehow in your head want to give him another and a third and a fourth and a fifth chance, and you're like, I got Stockholm Syndrome with this asshole.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm going to go to one of these movies again. Half of Matrix was good. Half of Matrix Reloaded was good. The car scene, a bunch of the fight scenes were actually good. It just was only half of a good movie. The rest was the bullshit you mentioned.
I meant to mention about the Village. I can't remember who I was seeing that movie with, but the Bryce Howard. And there was like two-thirds of the way through the movie, I remember looking at the person I was with and going, "Wait a second, she's blind?" Because she's constantly running places and then like stopping and opening doors.
You didn't notice that she was using a series of sonar clicks like a dolphin. Bryce Dallas Howard, she's weird. She's a weird girl.
Yeah.
She clicks at things. All right, so number 4. Number 5, I had to give that one to Rich if I didn't mention that. Number 4, Rich said Prometheus, and Dan said Left 4 Dead 2. Really interesting juxtaposition here. I'm going to have to go with Prometheus for a specific reason that Kevin's not going to like. I kind of like this movie, and I think Rich is too hard on it. I am on record saying that. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't think is explained that is explained. But the particular things you were pointing out about the way the acting was handled, the pure white-hot ball of rage that emanates from you when you speak of this is more entertaining than the film is, which makes it kind of a net win in a weird way. But I think we can all agree that, like what Rich said at the beginning is true, which is that he set out to basically say, all right, bitches, this is the new Blade Runner. I'm like top dog in sci-fi film. And he blew it. Nobody thinks that. So, I have to give this one to Prometheus over Left 4 Dead 2. As disappointing as that game is, Left 4 Dead 1 was there to back you up. The depth of the disappointment is what I use to gauge this particular answer.
I cannot knock a Prometheus knock.
Yeah, his plea was so impassioned. I just had to give it to him because it's just so fun.
Hey, you can only squirm during so many surgeries to.
Yeah. I mean, halfway through Prometheus for me, I kind of switched it to let's say the Evil Dead lens, and it was hilarious.
Better.
It's great, Phil. Holy shit! There's a giant donut rolling after. What else are you going to do? It was a survival mechanism for me. All right, number 3. Rich says Dark Knight Rises, and Dan said Episode 3. This is clearly Episode 3. There is no contest here. Dark Knight was kind of disappointing in some respects, but I still think it was a pretty watchable film, honestly. I don't hate it. I just don't. It's not what I kind of hoped they would do with it. I think it got fucked up by Heath Ledger dying, frankly.
Yeah, it did.
And they had to scramble and had a giant amount of stress, and I think they cracked a little bit. But it's not a bad film. Episode 3 is the end of a string of really bad fucking films, famously bad, just monumentally, galactically, just chewing your fingernails off. Oh my God, what happened? That is the ultimate, cap on that whole 1 through 3 thing that happened. I want to call it film. So, CG diarrhea, I guess. Anyways, so Dan wins that one because Episode 3 was all of those things that Dark Knight Rises really doesn't measure up. Number 2, Rich said Metal Gear Solid 2. And Dan said Episode 2. Again, he's kind of really just tapping on just such a massive font, really, of bitter cynicism that this also overpowers Metal Gear Solid 2 because I think that even when you were describing it yourself, Rich, it was there's some choices that you didn't like, but it was a pretty fun game. I think everybody fondly, for the most part, remembers MGS2. They do not fondly. They're like, is that the clone one? Is that the more Yoda? I don't remember. I was just in the middle of that fever dream that happened. So
Metal Gear Solid 2 to me sticks out as the one where they never went back to Snake. You were just stuck with Raiden. And it slowly seeps in that I think I'm playing the whole game with him.
Yeah, but I like that. Even though it was a fake out, I thought that was cool.
It was a sad realization.
Yeah.
I was like, I actually thought that was pretty bold of him, so I don't fault him.
I really like Metal Gear Solid 2 because I have no attachment to Snake, so I thought it was a great game to play.
Game. So that means 2 for Rich, 5 and 4 for Rich, 3 and 2 are for Dan. It brings us to number 1, Mass Effect 3 versus Episode 1. I gave this one to Rich because, Dan, you're just getting greedy.
Yeah.
You can't just go with the same trope for all 3. I'll give you 2 of them because that is definitely at least 2 movies worth of pure disappointment, but I cannot give you the whole trilogy.
Ironically, Episode 1 is the worst one of all the ones to give me.
And there's probably the biggest range of excitement to disappointment.
All you had was the first 3
This is your
movies.
own undoing. I had nothing to do with this. Mass
I will
Effect
say,
3 really
Mass Effect
dropped
3,
the ball. You just lost your team that you spent the entire second game collecting, and the continuity was screwed up, and Rich said it actually way better than I could. So
yeah, actually,
Rich wins it.
Mass Effect 3 is a phenomenal choice. I can't even knock it. And, I rode that bit as long as I could.
It was a good bit.
It's pretty long.
You got 2 points out of it, but just strategically, the way these are placed, I can't give it to you.
Mass Effect 3 is indomitable.
And that one, that one, you were just like, I spent 80 hours playing what now?
Yeah. Rich, did you finish it before me, or was it vice versa? I remember we talked about it on a train last year to PAX, but I can't remember if you were talking about it, having already finished it.
I'm not sure. I think I beat it before. Yeah, I definitely beat it before.
Yeah, because I was talking about the things that happened to me, and you were just laughing about it. Because it was like, Legion died, then Tally jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, unexpectedly, she did it in the middle of a sentence. You're just
out
like,
of nowhere.
What? Where's she going? Like, that's how it happened. It wasn't something like, fuck you, I'm jumping. It was just like, yeah, sorry, Tally, I can't do this. So anyways, oh, she's gone. I didn't even see.
Tally.
I played through each of those games. Well, not including this last one, but 1 and 2, 3 times total. I played through Paragon twice and Renegade once on each. And I played through Insanity on one of those on each time, too. Just so I could, like,
So you could get both endings. That way you could see both hues of the force field that enveloped the planet at the end.
Exactly. But by the time I got to the third one,
that is bonus content.
I couldn't stomach another playthrough of that.
Hey. Wow. All right. Well, that's
good one.
That's gonna wrap up the show because we ran a little long tonight, but that's no big deal. It was
what, an hour 10? It can't be that long.
Well,
we've done a lot.
We're trying to keep a little closer. I know we have, but
we're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing
all right.
So, but I think it's gonna wrap it up though. You know, I'm not going to tell you where to find us. You know where to find us. And I'm kind of stalling.
Stalkers.
Bye.
Yeah. See ya. Do us a favor. If you enjoy the show, please tell your friends. Go up to the top of the hills and shout it out as loud as you can. Leave us a review.
Brand it into your children.
Retweet us. That kind of stuff. Share the links for our downloads, and we would really appreciate it. And other than that, though, that's going to wrap it up. So. For our co-host, Rich Coonley, Mr. Ryan Houston, Dan Zaccarelli, I've been Kevin Alexander. I'm still going to be after the show. Until next time, we are shutting down the machine.
No, you cease to exist after the show.
I really fucking limped into that one.
You could always re-record it later if you want.
Yeah. Kind of clopped that outro.
That was a comparison I should have made for Surgeon Simulator 2013 was Quap.
Yeah.
Because it is like the perfect analogy. Let's count it out, and then we'll do some. We'll do a little riffing on for the next time. Okay.
All right.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Man,
I think I did use Clop as an analogy. Actually, now that you
did you?
mention it.
I don't remember. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
It's my brilliant.
I was probably trying to hold on to my own thought while you, so I didn't lose it.
Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right.
Yeah, sure. Rich, so we're doing like an Arrested Development.
Yeah, I know. I've actually been listening to the podcast lately.
Oh, yeah?
I never really listened to it before.
Oh,
it's actually